Today, I want to talk about my journey in becoming a professional photographer and why it made me so unhappy at first. So, starting in high school, I started getting really into photography, but really, I was always interested in it. My first camera was this rubberized Fisher Price camera that shot on film. I forgot the format, 110 film, the little cartridge film. I loved that thing. I used to love the little flash bulbs that came with it. I would shoot with it just to fire off the flash bulbs. And then I kind of didn't do too much photography. My mom would buy really nice cameras, hi mom, and she wouldn't let me use them because she was worried I'd break it maybe, film was expensive, etc. But I loved taking pictures. In high school, all my friends took a photography course at the junior college down the street, but I was taking sign language at that time and I couldn't take the class. And so what I started doing is I would do all of their assignments for fun. And then I would sneak into the dark room and print my own work illegally. That would become a trend later on. And so I got super into it. Like in college, I could not get enough. I actually majored in history because I'm so interested in people. And to me, history is like history of people. But really, I spent all my time in the darkroom. Initially, black and white photography, and then later color photography, and it's all I did. But after graduating college, it became really difficult to continue. Back then, we weren't quite at that point where we were transitioning to digital. Digital cameras were usually point and shoot cameras. I remember the first digital Rebel was like very expensive for the time. Maybe someone will remember, put it in the comments, but I think it was like $1,000 at the time, which was a lot more than it would be if you adjust for inflation. It was pretty expensive. And I kind of took a break, but it's all I really cared about. And I just wanted to create, really. So first, after college, I moved to Portland. I only made images with a little point and shoot. I found a dark room, but I just ended up not having the time to actually use it. And then I moved to Peru, where pretty much there was no options for me to shoot at all in film. And so after that, I moved back to Los Angeles after a trip to Israel. And I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I came home after that trip and woke up at like 3 a.m., 4 a.m., super fresh, fresher than I had ever felt in my entire life. And I decided I enjoyed my trip to Israel so much that I wanted to become like a guide and go on these trips again. And so I go to this meeting where it's like an orientation. And I'm writing my, like pros and cons list. And I'm thinking, I either want to be a professional photographer or I want to be a filmmaker. And I really didn't know at all at the time. In my conscious brain, I was like, I don't know which one I want. And a girl sitting next to me is like looking over my shoulder and says, what are you doing? And I told her, I'm trying to decide my life. And we started talking, and within like a minute, she says, dude, it seems pretty clear you want to be a photographer. And the minute she said that, it was like this profound realization. Yeah, I've always wanted to be a photographer. In college, I didn't paint. I wish I did. Didn't sculpt. I also wish I did. I spent all my time on photography. I've always loved that medium. But that said, it's really about creating. It's about documenting people, telling stories, connecting with people. If I could find that in another medium, I would actually be okay never taking a photo again, believe it or not. So that's when I decided I'm going to be a professional photographer. And the next day, I made an Excel sheet. I got every photographer's name I could find in Los Angeles. I put their studio name, the contact person, phone number, little notes, etc. I called all of them, pretty much all wedding photographers, because that was like the easy thing to get into. And none of them called me back. This is really early in the digital age, and we're not like calling thousands. Back then, there was maybe a few dozen. And the only one that did call me back was a very large wedding photography studio. So I started shooting with them. I went to my meet. I met with them. I dressed up. I wore a suit. They were like, yeah, we literally have a couple hundred people that are interested, but you seem cool. Let's try it out. And I worked my butt off on that first job. Not because I wanted to impress him. Of course I did. I wanted to do a good job. I have a strong work ethic, but I loved it. I mean, I really liked the job. But now we can fast forward, and my attitude about the job began to sour. And that's what I really wanted to talk about. Every weekend I'd be shooting 2 weddings, sometimes 3 weddings. Then I started branching off on my own and shooting my own work. And eventually I was shooting less for someone else and more for myself. But often enough, I would just feel unfulfilled, and I couldn't exactly figure out why. If anyone talked down to me, it would really upset me because I took a lot of pride in my work. I felt like I'm an artist devoted to my craft. And when someone would talk to me like I'm just a monkey, like that, and anyone could do the job, like when a groomsman would be like, hey, camera guy, it was really offensive to me. And that bothered me more than it should have. Before I knew it, years passed, years literally, and I had not taken a single image for myself. Not one. Even going on vacation, no photography. I found reasons that weren't really the reason why. Like I blamed different things. First, I'm like, my 5D is huge. It's too big. I need a smaller camera, or then I don't like digital. I like film, whatever it was, right? But the truth is, I just wasn't creating for myself. And if you're not creating for yourself, then your professional work tries to fill the void. It tries to become your creative work. And it's not. I'm going to say it again. It's not. You are creating, you are doing a job for another person as creatively as possible. And the way you kind of can express yourself is it's pretty wide open, but you also have to deliver a product that your client can use. You cannot just be an artist. You can't just be, oh, this is how I do things, and if you don't like it, screw you. You can do that, but then you better be managing expectations before they hire you and say, I don't do this, I don't do that, I don't, So there was that moment I realized, enough. This is not why I even got into being a photographer. I have to explain that I didn't get into professional photography because I wanted to be a professional photographer. I really got into it because I hated everything else. I tried my hardest to have a job, and I held jobs, but I hated every moment of all of them. Even the nonprofit work I did, it was really just manning a call center. I felt like a cog. I felt like I couldn't express myself. And so that became fuel. My anger and hatred for the corporate world became fuel that kind of combined with my passion for photography. And I said, hey, I've got to work, I've got to make a living. But if I'm at a 9 to 5, which is really a 9-hour day or more, I'm going to be completely drained by the time I'm off to do any photography for myself. I might as well be closer to photography, and then I get to buy all the gear. And so that's what I did. I bought all the gear, and I started shooting professionally. But what I hadn't counted on is that association with my camera being about work. So eventually I put my foot down though, and I started creating. And the best way I found to create was actually by participating in a little bit of a challenge where I was going to create every day. I didn't have to make an image every day, but I was going to work toward that image every day. And most days I was able to actually get an image done. This is where the Us Making Bricks Doing Things series came from. I spent a month where every day I woke up and my apartment became like my little sandbox where I would create different sets and scenes. And it was really about much more than it seems on the surface, but it was a photo series of me and my dog doing the same things on the surface. But what it was really about was me exploring my apartment, me reclaiming it after a really vicious breakup, me healing. So basically reappropriating all my own stuff. And it was about the friendship I had with Brixton, who is my best friend to this day. So after that, I had some lulls, but I kept creating. And when I kept creating, I realized professional photography doesn't have to be my end-all be-all creative outlet. And when I was able to do that, all the resentment, all the negativity, it went away. Now I see it so differently. I see it as I get paid a lot of money to do something I really enjoy. It's been a game changer for me. So if you're not creating, now maybe, here's the thing. When I first started out as a photographer, I would look at other people's work, kind of like I would network with other photographers starting out, and I would read their bios, and it would always be about, oh, shooting weddings is my passion. And I'm like, I just don't believe you. But maybe it's true. And if that's the case, maybe you don't need this advice. Maybe you don't need to create your own personal projects. That might be the case. Everyone has a different perspective, and I mean that. So that might be the case. But for me, that does not resonate. For me, shooting someone's wedding, which, you know, you guys, if you follow my work, you know I don't shoot weddings anymore, but that was not like my end-all be-all pursuit. I was always in this to create for myself, and that was a long journey for me to realize that. And once I did, I've been so much happier about my professional work and my own work. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a really long one. I would be happy to do videos like this because all the videos I make they require a lot of planning, all the educational stuff. I hope you guys see how much effort goes into it. This is a lot easier for me to do, is just talk off the cuff about something that matters to me. So I hope you enjoy it. If you want to support me, like, subscribe, click the bell. I would love your support on Patreon. I post extra content on Patreon that's free for everyone. You don't actually have to support me. If you do support me, I'm here to support you with portfolio reviews, critiques, whatever you need. Thank you guys for watching.